Testing, little microphone. Testing. How far can we walk with this little microphone? Testing. Today, we are out in the desert, as usual, exploring some sights and really just testing this microphone. Thank you for being here and welcome. Today I want to look at abandoned Salt Lake City. Salt Lake City in ruins. This is a collection of 73 photos from 1850 to 1964. Here it says Utah's capital, Salt Lake City, was founded by Brigham Young in 1847. It becomes a state in 1894. The Enabling Act, signed by Grover Cleveland. So here we go. All of this city is essentially built out before it's even a state. Just a big gamble, if we're to believe the narrative. And I've lived in Salt Lake City. And right away, even before doing this research over 20 years ago, I thought to myself, why is this city so worldly and European? My best friend growing up was Mormon. Their family lived next door. And they're very kind and simple people to this day. There was the Olympics in Salt Lake City, and one of the Olympic pins for Utah was a bowl of green jello. This is one of their favored foods, a food that was introduced at the World's Fair. Green jello, hot dogs, meat and potatoes. And here in this photo, we see a completely built out city in ruins. This absolute tech on the top. It doesn't look like it's been recently built. It looks as if they're just recently erecting this scaffold around it. For what? I don't know. Maybe they're going to remove it. Maybe they're going to blow it up. Maybe there's TNT in these boxes. The caption tells us, George Albert Smith and temple electrician Ephraim holding copper on the southeast tower of the temple prior to 1893 dedication. Anyway, does this tech match the streets? Surely the streets would have been beautified by now. Brick or stone or whatever. Not this. Not with tech like this up here. And a whole city built out in ruins. This was a swimming area, we are told. It burnt down, the Saltaire. And here we go in contrast. Simple buildings. I would live in either of these. But there's no comparison to the old world photos that we look at on this channel. This is stupid. It doesn't even have a foundation. It's just sitting on bricks. This is a creepy child. It looks like he has a beard and is old. I think in the Bible it says your children will be born old. Here a man selling bicycles. A little family, perhaps in the bicycle business. Really creepy swimming photo. I don't know what's going on here. This person back here looks like he's walking on water. And here's how they went swimming. Really having uniforms, not looking like normal people. These look like uniforms. She's wearing the same thing. She is. And she appears to be as well with this collar. Now this looks like that same first photo that we were looking at. And in this picture, the tech has been removed. Here we go. And we see the city completely built out. Just like today. Just packed. Hence why it's so polluted, like I showed you in one of my last videos. But here we go. Now standing. And here they're telling us this is a before picture. Standing where the capstone was to be lowered into place. Before the capstone ceremony. And I think that's how they gave us a lot of these construction photos. Just taking photos of them dismantling buildings and ornaments like this. Here again we see this super tech. I mean, unbelievable tech here. Ephraim. Again, the electrician. I mean, does he look like an electrician? This Charlie Chaplin character? Where's his tool belt? Ephraim clings precariously to the copper. Come on. And look at this beauty down here, these little mansions, gingerbread. And as beautiful as these are, they are not up there to this day. Are they in a museum somewhere? Here's a little look at 1890. Just completely powered up. I mean, overly powered. 1890. And the people as backwards as could be. Looking like some Chinese rickshaws. Bicycles, horse and wagon, not worthy of all of this brick and ornamentation. No, these aren't a wealthy people. These are just getting by people. And we see all their cheap signage that they've painted on these brick buildings. And until recently, all these buildings existed. Now it's like a frenzy in Salt Lake to demolish everything old and put cheap apartments up. So this thing still exists today. You can drive under it on State Street, and then the Capitol would be up to the right. But this old wall is gone. And I've seen traces of it here and there in people's backyard. This old castle-y wall that doesn't really match this colonial style home. But here again, the people. I mean, just as primitive and little house on the prairie as could be. Not a massive stone wall building people or casting giant birds out of metal. Stuff that still exists today, still worthy. And it's actually a lot bigger than this. I mean, it spans across the whole road. I don't know why it looks so small here. Here we can see the excess. If you look at construction photos, they will offer up some of the tabernacle. And what you'll see is a giant hole, several stories underground, with blockwork going way underground. And then everything gets filled in. And there are still tunnels. I've seen people accessing the tunnels right here. A couple sister missionaries popped underground. And here we jump to 1942, and you see nothing's changed. Everything old and weathered. Same buildings they showed us for the 1800s. Here, a supposed construction photo. There we go. This one man here. Very strange looking man, very lanky. Here again, a construction photo. Capstone ceremony. Look at these people. Honestly, these don't look like Mormons. I mean, look at this kid, like a gangster, like a pickpocket thug. No. I mean, the Mormons are going to look more like the Amish or Mennonites. This is really extravagant here. So here we can see what I was talking about, the tabernacle and how it goes down. And it's all a mess down here. It's all overgrown, old. We see staining running over the blocks as if it's been sitting like this for a long time, not just freshly assembled. These guys stumble upon it. Here we see trees growing in the blockage. And again, all of this is filled in. There is no hole here or pool or anything like that. I've been here and walked all around this. However, there is a secret underground under all of this. And here we get a glimpse. It's as if this photo actually shows what they stumbled upon. Tabernacle already done. Some obelisk and dome back here that's no longer present. And all of this rubble and growth. Not a construction site. No, there would be no trees. This tree here in the foreground, one of my favorite trees in the world. Very strange scent. And they grow like weeds in Salt Lake. Here you can see this is just a young sprout. But here we go. Not new construction. What do you think there? Did you guys build this? No, hell no, we didn't build this. That's what I thought. No. I mean, I think it's pretty clear. I think they might have put this wood fence around the hole. That's about it. Ruins of some old fortification. And again, I believe the temple was already there too. In this same ruined condition. Here we go, the temple. And this other little cathedral. This photo is totally fake. These are fake people, as you can see. And yet, the building, at least the brick here, is real. These windows have been penciled in. A lot of fakery here. How ironic. It says CW photographer, and we have a fake picture, like a painting. So here we go, downtown. All the same stuff that's there today. Giant brick buildings. I think this is the Commerce building. Here are some people. Okay, these people looking more Amish, like I said. Their loom in this giant building. Already a factory. What year do they say? 1870. 10, 15, 20 years after they arrive. We already have industry, or have we jump-started an industry? Here they tell us Mormon missionaries. I don't think these look like Mormon missionaries. This looks like an unsavory group of thugs. I could be wrong. So this is a great picture. We can see how they have paved over the brick streets. We see a brick gutter here. And the car would put this in the 50s or 60s. Bar X Inn. I've been there. I have had a beer here. And in fact, I used to live a block behind us if we were looking at this Bar X. Bar X is still here. This brick building. Now they've chopped up a lot of this. The police station is right here. And the police have abandoned their station as of recently. It's just homeless everywhere and an absolute mess. And in fact, looks the same. Has always looked the same. But now they've just let it go. And this is a great picture. Just to get to Salt Lake City from the east, as we're told. These are the mountains you have to travel through. Hundreds of ranges like this. Here they're dragging one chunk of tree. Just a little chunk, maybe a 20-foot chunk of tree. 2 horses, and he has to sit on the side. There we go. This is the advancements of the time. This is the tech. Look at this poor horse, it's so lean and bony. And here, the guy behind has another chunk of log as well. 2 horses to pull a chunk. And just to drag it. That's what we get. Main Street, 1936, totally ruined building. Looks like one has been demolished. Next to it, we see the imprint. Here we see the beautiful ornamentation, looking like the corner of a cathedral. Groceries down here. My point is complete cowboyage. This is a great depiction. Absolute Old West cowboy. And then this? Who asked for this? This is supposed to be 1868. 10, 15, 20 years after the first Mormons arrive. And here we can see more ornamentation. All this for billiards. All this brick. Look at these signs. You can lay all this brick and then you have this hand-painted sign. Ornamentation like this on the building and this hand-painted sign? Yes. Mud streets. Here I was standing in front of this building the other day, across the street from the Capitol. What we can see is the temple right here. Joseph Smith building across the street from the temple. Some massive buildings, massive up on this hillside. 1, 2, 3 possibly. Here a wooden bridge and an old canal and old streets just grown over. Old infrastructure and a new wooden bridge. This man is pondering the meaning of life. How did I end up here? Where do I come from? Now for this next part, I'd like to jump over to San Francisco. The Sutro Baths, one of the greatest anomalies we've discovered. Right below this point, from where this picture is taken, is the area that I Am Kairos channel discovered thousands of bricks. What he discovered is this hillside leading up to this statue that we're looking at is made of bricks, now posing as a hill or small mountain. There's been an active effort to facade over it, as we can see at the bottom. But the expenditure would have been far too great to cover the whole mountain with concrete. So there's still a lot of areas we can explore. This article that I saved was titled The Mysterious Buried Statues of Sutro Park. A mystery. It's like our history from beyond 100 years appears to be a mystery. So much is being discovered from not that long ago. So here we can see a photo from 1890, and kind of an in-between state. Looks like we have ruins, we have weathering. Mind you, this should only be like 40 years old, if this is 1890. And we have ruins up here. Not sure what to do with this area. Already repurposing it. Sticking a cannon up here. You can tell it doesn't belong here. It's sagging on this steel cabling right here. Sagging. Here we see another angle. Old world statues overlooking this mega highway and everything else. Again, the blockage coupled with what we know about this whole hill. And we're told about this great tunnel, a scheme. The Sutro Tunnel, finished in 1878, was a financial bust for everyone. Everyone but Sutro, who secretly sold his stock. So he raised a bunch of money for this 7-mile long, 1,000-foot deep mining tunnel that went bust. So essentially they built this tunnel for nothing. He swindled these people's money away. Sutro, he was like supposedly the mayor of San Francisco. Sutro began acquiring these statues in the 1800s. After his death and his mansion's destruction, the statues were left in place. So he dies and his mansion is destroyed. How convenient. Sometime during World War II, the statues disappeared, never to be seen again. A former unnamed Sutro Bath gardener told historian Arthur Chandler that the statues were buried in an unmarked location somewhere in the park. The reason? The authorities were afraid that a row of statues would make inviting targets for gunners aboard Japanese submarines. So there you go. We have pictures of them. Now they're buried and lost. We have this stupid story as to why they were buried. The mayor dies and his house is demolished. And today it's a melted brick avalanche. What more can I say? San Francisco is clearly an inherited city. Similar to this place called Dunedin, New Zealand. I made a video on this place in great detail about 3 years ago, and I thought we'd have a little quick look. New Zealand couldn't be any more out of the way, and yet we see this same splendid architecture with the same ridiculous narratives. City halls, universities, libraries. Now I want to show one picture. I think this is a great picture pertaining to meltology. This is a lime kiln in Nevada. Here you go. It was built entirely of bricks, and now it sits in this condition. And all throughout Utah, we have mounds like this, without the archways, at least visible, and only a little bit of this archway remaining. This one is in Nevada, about 11 hours from me. They've put a fence around it, and I'm not sure what happened here. Looks like there was a blowout, and I think this is a pocket of survival. This whole area was cooked, and this is what happens to structures when they're superheated, in my opinion. And once again, I want to look at this Victor Emmanuel National Monument. Unbelievable. And the oldest photos Even when the city is completely in ruins, you see this building towering. This building, in my opinion, is so old, and yet we're told it dates back to the late 1800s. They wanted to commemorate this man, Victor Emmanuel, King of Sardinia, King of Italy. Here he is, with his mustache, seeming like a complete fake. All his ridiculous decor, so much that it's probably difficult to walk. Victor Emmanuel. And no talk about how this was built. The Italian government approved the construction. The project was realized by Giuseppe Sacconi in 1885. It was realized. I guess that means designed, sort of. To erect this building, it was necessary to proceed with numerous and extensive demolitions of the buildings that were on the site. Okay, so nothing yet. The partly completed monument was inaugurated in 1911. After the First World War, it was chosen to house the tomb of the unknown soldier. There we go. We don't even know who the soldier is. We don't even know how they built it. Before World War I. All this information, and none of it worth a damn. I mean, what is this? Now it's like a museum, of course. So I think that's all I've got today. I thank you for joining me. I love you all. God bless, and I'll see you next week.